Okay, so if you got the chassis cover, which allows the smaller outer diameter of the modular chassis unit to match up with the inner diameter of modular Hilt System version 1 parts, or with my Graflex kit, then you can either get it in plastic or metal. So this is polished brass, but the design tolerances and everything for polished bronze and polished copper are the same. So those are the three materials that I would recommend, since they're the ones I've tested and it came out really nice. This is the premium plastic, and that's going to work as well too. When you get this part, there are a couple of things that you're probably going to need to sand, because what we want is we want this part to sit really snugly on the chassis. So the first thing are these tabs here. These tabs come in contact with this part of the modular chassis unit here. And the tabs, if you print in metal, the inside diameter of metal prints tends to be a little bit smaller. It tends to shrink. So we might need to sand off those tabs a little bit. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your chassis in there and check to see how it fits when it comes in contact with those tabs. Just the last inch or so. And if it fits snugly and it doesn't come out, then you're fine. If you find that like it takes an excessive amount of force or just won't go in at all, then you probably need to sand those tabs down. So you're going to take a metal file and just very carefully sand each of these tabs, and this, if you print it in metal, it's an expensive part, so take your time. Just sand it a little bit, make sure you wipe the surface clean, and then try again, and just keep going slowly. Because again, the difference between not fitting at all and a nice tight snug fit is 0.1 millimeters. So you don't need to remove a lot of material to get the fit that you want. So you need to just go really slow. It's also possible if when you were putting the wires in place that the chassis now doesn't quite fit into the inside here. And if that's the case, again, you might start by looking for any of these brass rods that are sticking out and take care of those. If for some reason, even without the brass rods or, whatever, the chassis doesn't seem to want to go in. So it's a snug slide, but it doesn't take excessive force. It shouldn't be worrisome, the amount of force that you're using. If you find that that's the case, then you're going to want to sand the inside diameter of this. And for that, we're going to use a metal file with a curved edge, and again we're going to go very slowly and carefully around the inside diameter here, working from both sides, sanding the inside, making sure that we don't put any stress on the little windows here. These are not super strong, so if you're like just furiously sanding, you might poke, or the file might stick through, and then you'll cause some damage that you're not going to be happy with. So go slow. Again, when you're done sanding it, you're going to want to clean off the inner surface so that it doesn't screw up your chassis, and then test the fit again, and just keep going slow. I needed to sand this, and I think I spent about 2 hours sanding the inside, just going slow, and checking it over and over again, and eventually it fit just the way that I wanted it to fit. If you want to put metal mesh and a diffuser behind these windows here, there is room above the chassis here, this part of the chassis doesn't come in contact with this part of the covers. So you have a little bit of room to put some mesh and a diffuser there. And if you look on the side for mine, I just used a really thin diffuser, the blade diffuser from the Custom Saber Shop, and then that same hobby mesh that I used on the chassis here with a very thin, very strong industrial tape that that I just cut to size and then taped that in there. So it's all said and done, I think it's like 0.4 millimeters thick, so it's not going to come in contact with anything. If you're going to do that, you need to make sure everything sort of occupies this space here. You can't stretch farther out towards these windows or it's going to come in contact with part of the chassis and just give you a headache. So you want to make sure it's just kind of ending just past these window slots here, just under the window slots here. And then what I found is, because you're sort of trying to tape to a curved surface, that the best thing to do is actually to cut a slit down the middle of the tape, and then when you're securing it, press in from the side like that, and then press in from the side like that. That way you don't get any air bubbles or anything trapped in the middle, and it fits to the curved contour. And then once you've got that set, it won't come in contact with any of that, and it'll slide right through.